What do Exxon, Greenpeace, and Rwanda have in common? The answer might surprise you. A lot of people don't know this, but right now, 175 countries are negotiating a treaty to solve plastic pollution. And there are a lot of players in the room. Let's break it down. We all know about the plastic problem at this point. It's a problem so big that no country alone can solve it. So last year, global talks began to forge an international plastics treaty. It's a big deal, but an even bigger deal is that countries agreed it'll be legally binding. That means if governments don't abide by it, there could be actual consequences. And now, world leaders are meeting periodically to negotiate the terms of the agreement. But the devil's in the details, and this is where you're going to come in, so pay attention. We need a plastics treaty that, one, has deadlines to slash plastic production. Ending the cycle of plastic pollution for good requires getting to the root of the problem by cutting plastic production. See, the plastics crisis is fundamentally a crisis of volume. There's so much plastic being created right now that it's just totally unmanageable. Basically, if you've got an overflowing bathtub, don't bail it out with a teaspoon, turn off the faucet. 2, we need a plastics treaty that advances environmental justice. We need this treaty to prioritize the health, livelihoods, and expertise of communities and workers all along the plastic supply chain. Look, we know plastic harms people. The fossil fuels and chemicals it's made of are toxic, and they pollute our air, our water, our food, and even our bodies. So those most impacted, whether they live next to an ethane cracker in Pennsylvania or work as a waste picker in the Philippines, need to be at the decision-making table. Number 3, we need a treaty that rejects false solutions. Major polluters like Exxon are lobbying for a weaker treaty. But why are the companies that created the problem even allowed in the room in the first place? And the things the industry is pushing, like what they call advanced recycling or plastic offsets or more beach cleanups, those are not real solutions. They're just greenwashing tactics that let industry keep making more plastic. With negotiations underway, we need to build enough public pressure around the world to make sure the treaty is strong enough to solve the problem. And we need to keep certain companies and countries from getting in the way. The good news is, many countries are advocating for strong terms. Let's call them the High Ambition Coalition. Nations like Rwanda and Ecuador and Norway and Peru, they're leading the way. Other countries, not so much. Some of the world's most powerful countries, like the US, where I live, and Saudi Arabia, they're resistant to passing a strong treaty because they're the major producers of either plastic or the fossil fuels that plastics are made of. So this is where you come in. If you've felt helpless, or like, my individual actions can only do so much, this is the opportunity for the major sweeping changes that we've been waiting for. But world leaders need to hear from us. We need participation from people like you and me to make sure we're drowning out corporate lobbying and getting the strongest possible plastics treaty we can. So what kind of treaty will the citizens of the Earth get? The one we fight for.